What if I told you that your entire life could change? Not because of one giant leap, not because of some sudden breakthrough, but because of the smallest actions you take every single day. Think about it. The choices you make, waking up early or hitting snooze, drinking water or grabbing soda, reading a page or scrolling endlessly. Each decision seems so small, almost invisible, and yet these tiny choices, repeated over days, weeks, and years, are silently shaping your destiny. This is the power of habits, and more importantly, this is the power of atomic habits. Atomic habits are the tiny routines that are easy to do, but even easier to ignore. They're the small changes that compound into extraordinary results when repeated consistently over time. And in this video, we're going to dive deep into how these small changes create massive success, how habits shape identity, and how you can redesign your life starting today with nothing more than one small step. Most people believe success is about massive action. They think they need to work harder, hustle longer, or wait for a moment of luck. But the truth is simpler and far more powerful. Success doesn't come from intensity. Success comes from consistency. It comes from the simple, repeated actions that compound, day after day, year after year. Imagine this. If you get just 1% better every single day, in 1 year you won't just be a little better, you'll be 37 times better. That's the math of compounding. 1% might feel like nothing today, but over time it transforms everything. And this doesn't just work for the good. Bad habits also compound. Skip the gym today, and nothing changes. Skip it every day for a year, and suddenly you're out of shape, low on energy, and lacking confidence. Eat one unhealthy meal. No big deal. Eat poorly every day for years, and the results are unavoidable. The same principle that builds success also builds failure. The question is, which direction are your habits compounding in? That's why habits matter so much. They are the invisible architecture of your life. They determine whether you rise to your potential or stay stuck in mediocrity. So today, let's break down atomic habits, not just what they are, but how you can apply them. You'll learn the 4 laws of behavior change, the power of identity-based habits, how to break bad routines, and how small steps can lead you to massive success. Let's start with the first big idea: why small habits matter more than big goals. We've all been told to set big goals. Lose weight, make more money. Get good grades, start a business. But here's the problem. Goals are about the destination, while habits are about the journey. And it's the journey that creates the destination. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. That's one of the most powerful truths from atomic habits. Everyone wants the outcome, but few people build the system that leads to the outcome. Think of it this way. If you're a basketball player, your goal might be to win the championship. But what gets you there isn't the goal, it's the practice, the drills, the teamwork, the daily habits of showing up, improving, and staying consistent. Goals are good for setting direction, but systems are what get you there. Here's a story that perfectly illustrates this. For nearly 100 years, British cycling was terrible. They hadn't won a Tour de France. They were considered so bad that some bike manufacturers refused to sell to them, afraid their reputation would be ruined. But then came Dave Brailsford, the new performance director. He introduced a philosophy called the aggregation of marginal gains. Instead of trying to change everything overnight, he focused on making the team just 1% better in every area. They redesigned bike seats for comfort. They rubbed alcohol on the tires for better grip. They taught riders the best way to wash their hands to avoid illness. Tiny changes, almost laughably small, but they compounded, and within 5 years, British cyclists dominated the sport, winning Tour de France after Tour de France and Olympic golds. This is the power of atomic habits. Small improvements, consistently applied, create massive results. Now let's dive into the heart of the book, the 4 laws of behavior change. The 4 laws are a simple framework for building good habits and breaking bad ones. They are: 1. Make it obvious. 2. Make it attractive. 3. Make it easy. 4. Make it satisfying. Let's break them down one by one. First, make it obvious. We often think our habits are driven by motivation, but they're really driven by cues, the triggers in our environment. If you see a cookie jar on the counter, you're more likely to eat a cookie. If your running shoes are by the door, you're more likely to go for a jog. That's why one of the best ways to build a new habit is to design your environment so that the cues for good habits are obvious and the cues for bad habits are hidden. Want to read more? Put a book on your pillow so you see it before bed. Want to eat healthier? Keep fruit on the counter and hide the junk food. Another powerful strategy is called habit stacking. Instead of trying to force a new habit into your life, you attach it to an existing one. For example, after I brush my teeth, I will floss. Or after I pour my morning coffee, I will write down one thing I'm grateful for. By linking a new habit to something you already do, you make the cue obvious and natural. Second, make it attractive. We're more likely to do things that feel rewarding. That's why it's easier to scroll on social media than to study. Our brain is wired to chase dopamine, the chemical of anticipation and reward. So how do we use this to our advantage? One method is temptation bundling. Pair something you need to do with something you want to do. For example, only listen to your favorite podcast when you're exercising. Only watch your favorite show when you're folding laundry. By making the habit more attractive, you increase the chances of sticking with it. Third, make it easy. Here's where most people fail. They try to do too much too fast. They set goals like, I'll go to the gym for an hour every day, and then burn out after a week. The truth is, the best habits are the ones that are so easy, you can't say no. James Clear calls this the 2-minute rule. Any habit should start by taking less than 2 minutes. Want to start running? Put on your shoes and step outside. Want to read more? Just read 1 page. Want to meditate? Sit quietly for 2 minutes. It sounds silly, but the goal isn't to do the perfect habit. The goal is to make it a ritual. Once you master the art of showing up, the rest takes care of itself. Another way to make habits easy is to reduce friction for good habits and increase friction for bad ones. If you want to play guitar more, keep it in the middle of your living room. If you want to watch less TV, unplug it and put the remote in another room. Fourth, make it satisfying. We repeat what feels rewarding. That's why bad habits like junk food stick around. They give immediate pleasure. Good habits often have delayed rewards. Going to the gym doesn't give you a six-pack instantly. That's why you need to make the habit satisfying in the short term. One way is through habit tracking. Each time you do your habit, mark it on a calendar or an app. The satisfaction of seeing a streak build motivates you to keep going. Another way is to give yourself a small reward immediately after completing the habit, like enjoying a healthy smoothie after a workout. When you combine these 4 laws, make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying, you create habits that stick. But there's one more principle that takes habits to the next level: identity. Most people try to change habits by focusing on outcomes. They say, I want to lose weight, or I want to save money. But here's the problem: outcomes are results. They're at the surface level. Habits that stick are built on a deeper level: identity. Instead of focusing on what you want to achieve, focus on who you want to become. Ask yourself, what kind of person would achieve this result? For example, instead of saying, I want to run a marathon, say, I am a runner. Instead of saying, I want to quit smoking, say, I am not a smoker. Each habit you perform is a vote for the type of person you want to become. When you read a page, you're casting a vote for being a reader. When you exercise, you're casting a vote for being an athlete. This is powerful because identity change sticks. When your habit is tied to your sense of self, it becomes harder to give up. If you're just trying to run, missing a workout feels fine. But if you identify as a runner, missing a workout feels like you're betraying yourself. Habits are not just actions. They're ways of embodying who you want to be. Now let's talk about breaking bad habits. Just as the 4 laws help you build good habits, you can invert them to break bad ones. 1. Make it invisible. Remove the cues. If you don't want a snack, don't keep junk food in the house. 2. Make it unattractive. Reframe your mindset. Instead of thinking, I'm missing out on junk food, think, I'm fueling my body with real energy. 3. Make it difficult. Increase friction. Block distracting apps. Cancel subscriptions. Make the bad habit harder to do. 4. Make it unsatisfying. Get an accountability partner. Make failing the habit come with an immediate consequence. Remember, you don't eliminate bad habits, you replace them. Every behavior fills a need, whether it's comfort, distraction, or relief. Find a healthier way to meet that need. Here's the final truth about atomic habits. The results often take time. This is the valley of disappointment. You expect progress to be linear. You put in effort and expect results. But in reality, progress compounds. In the beginning, it feels invisible. You don't see results after one workout, 1 week of saving money, or 1 week of writing. But beneath the surface, change is happening. Imagine heating an ice cube. At 25 degrees, nothing happens. At 28, still nothing. At 31, nothing. But at 32 degrees, the ice begins to melt. Was it that final degree that made the change? No, it was the accumulation of heat all along. That's how habits work. Change is often invisible until it suddenly becomes undeniable. This is why most people quit. They stop too soon. They fail to realize that habits compound, that every rep, every page, every choice is building momentum, even if the results aren't visible yet. The secret is to trust the process, to fall in love with the system, not the goal, to focus on being consistent, not perfect, because small habits, when done consistently, lead to massive success. Don't try to change your entire life overnight. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start small. Pick one habit, just one. Maybe it's journaling a single sentence. Maybe it's walking for 2 minutes. Maybe it's reading 1 page. Whatever it is, start today. Because when you master the small, you unlock the big. When you win the day, you win the life. Your future success isn't waiting in the distance. It's being built right now, in this moment with this choice. So take the step, build the habit, create the life you know you're capable of. This is the power of atomic habits. Small changes, massive success.